we watched Warfare. We watched Warfare, baby. A couple of weeks ago, and yeah, phenomenal film. Basically, it's a movie that takes place in, I believe, 2006 or 07
it's a movie
in
about
Afghanistan.
War.
Yeah,
Thank you guys for
Warfare.
watching.
Actually,
We'll see you on the next one.
Hi. But it's a movie that takes place in Afghanistan back in like 06, 07. And, you know, obviously during the Iraqi war, we were over there and these guys set up shop in this building in this town and are trying to, I think they got like intel about some weird stuff going on. They gotta like...
Bro, and this is going to be such an like later topic I'll touch on again. What I love about the setting is, and this is spoiler of course, we know we do this every time, what I love about it is a family's home, and at the end when they do the thing at the end where they like shoot at the building when they have the two tanks shoot at them, the family comes out after and they're like, what the fuck? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Because like they just destroyed their home just to get these guys out of there. Like, you know what I mean? Their house is fucked now.
And they didn't even get anything done. Literally got nothing done either. They didn't shoot or get anybody.
You know what I mean?
No intel. Except for the guy that did steal the one dude's joggers and jacket, remember?
Yeah, that's fair.
Yeah. They did spot that guy. But yeah, so basically,
yeah,
like
the
I
other
said,
teams are the other people. They're only people who killed anybody this whole time.
Yeah, they didn't do anything. So anyway, so basically early on, you know, they're scoping out this, like I said, they got intel that something's going on. You know, they might have some terrorist in this location. So they got a guy on the sniper. By the way, this story is told, one of the directors, I believe it's Alex Garland, right?
Yeah, they have a pretty acclaimed...
Alex Garland.
Yep. Yeah, a pretty acclaimed director, and then you have the guy who actually... He's like the main character in
Ray
the movie.
Mendoza.
Yeah, Ray Mendoza. He's the main character in the movie, but he also is like the person who actually lived the event that happened.
Which is dope. So he was like side by side with Alex Garland. Alex Garland's done a bunch of like war movies and like all that kind of stuff, so it's his vibe. And you have the actual guy that went through it, which is like the main character. So all the events were realistic. There was nothing. And he even talked, like you said, they saw an interview or something where they talked about it, how you know, they didn't do anything in the film that didn't happen in real life.
Yeah.
So like because of that, it's not, you know, people.
I think that's what got us super excited about it too when we were about to watch it. Like when I was talking about that, like it's really cool that they don't. It felt like a genuine story because a lot of the time, you know, you're focused on your badass hero because he did this and that and he did that, like, you know, he survived this or killed this guy. But like this was legit real. And there was a point in the movie, coolest point, I will say, and we'll get to this later. The guy who we're gonna touch on with the mustache, when he gets blown up, I looked at Logan and I said, there's no fucking way he survives this. Bro, when he wakes up, I said, that's bullshit. At the end of the movie, they show him rolling up on his wheelchair at the set.
Yeah.
And I was like, I'm getting chills talking about it. I was like, oh my god. That is so cool. Like,
yeah.
It just shows how much the human body can endure and that they stuck with the truth. You know what I mean? Nothing was faked. I legit, watching it, if I didn't know that, I would have been like, there's no way that dude survived. Mm-hmm. And he did.
A couple of those people, you think they would have been dead. You know, it's wild. But, so because when you watch this movie, it's not going to be like crazy, you know, Save It Private Ryan type stuff. And there's a lot of people, if you like read reviews and talk to a lot of people, they're like, yeah, the movie was kind of boring. There wasn't a lot going on, but like, that's because they didn't do any fake shit. It's legit events that happen, you know, throughout a 10-hour span.
Yeah, and it's not like you're following a fucking guy in Vietnam who's like down to his pistol and machete and he's like 1 on 12 killing John Wick John Wick killing people. Like, it's a real, like, you know, on task mission. People get hurt, get them out. This is what happened. You know what I mean?
Exactly. So, so because that, a lot of people said that it was boring and stuff, but it's a give and take with that, right? It's not going to be super cinematic, but at the same time, it's that realism that I think we all really appreciate when we're watching films because we know it actually did happen. Whenever you see based on a true story, you naturally get more engaged in the story because you know something actually went down, man. And like that, I think we're watching fake films, and I'll move on from this after this, but like when you're watching films like that as a narrative and it's something that didn't really happen, you almost have to like use your imagination constantly or like compare it to your real life constantly. But when you see based on a true story and there's no fake events that actually happen within that script, it's like you can almost like turn that part of your brain off and just enjoy it because you know everything's legit. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
So yeah, that was a really cool aspect,
for me, bro. Everyone thought that movie was boring, but I was just able to enjoy like the historical
Right.
presence. You know what I mean?
Especially when my boy Einstein pulled up. It's like, there he is!
Albie!
But no, so you got a guy with the scope with the mustache that's like scoping out the building or whatever. And like Brayden said, he gets a grenade thrown at him.
I think his name was actually Brad, wasn't it?
Might have been Brad.
One of them was Brad, I thought.
Yeah, I don't know.
I kept thinking to myself, I was like, Brad.
Might be Brad. But the guy got blown up, and pretty much after that, everything goes south, man. You know, he is in bad condition. His legs they look like pepperoni. He has like bone and stuff sticking out.
It didn't even start that way though, because they were set up, and then the first explosion happened.
Oh, that's what it was. Sorry.
No. Because you know what always got me about it?
Right.
They called this whole. They're stuck down in the middle of a war zone. Then they just lost air coverage.
Which made no sense.
And this motherfucker, the grenade obviously was not a good thing, but when you show his wound, he just had like a cut here and on his hand, and I'm like, yeah, that's not good, but like, you're really gonna go out there right now for that? You know what I mean?
Yeah. That's what that and the fact that air support left after that. They get blown up, which really happened. They get blown up by a grenade. One of the guys is severely injured with his arm, his hand, whatever. And it's like they want to get out of here, you know what I mean, or get some kind of medical or something. And they says, "Oh yeah, air support's gone." Like what? What are we talking about?
Yeah.
Maybe something more crazy, because they did say there was multiple stations. Maybe something crazy was happening, like at another station or something that they needed to go to, because it did say it went somewhere else. And of course, the people that do come and help them is another station stationed up not too far.
Yeah.
So maybe air support went over there. I don't know. It just seems so weird. It happened at the worst possible time when they were trying to get the hell out. So that was just really annoying. And then yes, you're right. So then after that, they're like, we need to get out of here, dude. You know what I mean? This is just not working out. They know where we are. Our whole mission's destroyed. So then they bring up these tanks. They go, or a tank. They go out to get everyone in this tank and dip. You know what I mean? When they go out there with no air support, by the way, they just get blown up.
RPG
blown up.
Blows them up, yeah. And I think the 2 foreign guys died.
Yeah. There was these like translators, these Afghan, I believe, translators.
Yeah.
And they were like, all right, we're getting out of here. And they're talking to each other. They're like, dude, we're gonna die, dude. We're not doing this.
Dude.
Why do we gotta go first?
No, it was okay, honestly, I know it's not supposed to be funny, but it really was, because like the Americans were like, go, we'll be right behind you. And they would look at each other and be like, we're gonna die, bro. Why are we going first? Why are we doing this right now? I don't want to do this.
And then they did get blown up. First ones do. They're just gone. Their arm and like legs on the ground. They're like, oh well, that didn't work. One of them, was it one of them that had like the whole half, the bottom half of the body
Yeah, it was
gone?
the taller, skinny one.
Yeah.
With the beard.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Insane, man. His whole half of his body was just gone, and just like his top half.
Which another thing to touch on, the effects were amazing. Like everything looked so realistic. Basically, after the explosion, everyone kind of gets back. Dude, Thomas, dude, they were giving that day one guy.
Oh.
Dude, they were giving him shit. I think his name was Thomas. They were giving him all this shit. He came in, and honestly, he was one of the most clutch motherfuckers in the entire movie, bro. But Ray ends up going and get the guy with the mustache that was originally the one getting evac'd. They also pulled Joseph Morgan's character in, or Joseph Quinn. I keep saying Joseph Morgan, dude. I don't know why I keep saying that.
Who's Joseph Morgan?
I don't know. And I keep thinking Arthur Morgan every time I say it. But I'm trying to Joseph Quinn.
Yeah.
They pull both those characters in with their legs. And, is there Joseph Morgan?
There is.
Oh, from Vampire Oh, shit. Klaus, bro. I love Joseph Morgan. I love Joseph Morgan. I'm actually a really big fan of you. Dude, if anything, I know you more popularly than Joseph Quinn, if that makes you feel better, Val. You know what I'm saying? That's
funny.
But yeah, they pull the mustache guy and Joseph Quinn's character, and I should know the names, I'm sorry. I'm on one movie a second ago now. But yeah, and it's like, this is an interesting part for me, because I think Joseph Quinn did a fantastic job, but I promise you, he maybe had 8 lines in the whole movie, and the rest of it was, ah! Ah!
Like, why even get Joseph Gordon?
Joseph Gordon-Levitt. Levitt.
Joseph Quinn. Why get him even in the movie? He should be screaming the whole time. You know what I mean? It felt very weird.
And I love what they did with the screaming, because there was a lot of moments you could tell for Ray that was the point. Like, when something would happen, he would go into that like ringing, and like everything, like the sound around him and the screaming would like go away. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And he would just hear like, and like everything was kind of like slow motion. He was like this,
which was really good. It wasn't like, you know how like a lot of those effects can be annoying in war movies, and it just feels weird. It felt very realistic in this, which Ray was probably there being like.
It felt really realistic.
Yeah.
It was very cool to see, and I loved the addition of it. But that's when it was like interesting because like every time you would come back in, dude, and you have like this Brad guy. Whose like legs look like he's from like Call of Duty Zombies.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Joseph Quinn's legs.
It's not gonna stop.
It's not gonna stop.
No.
Joseph Quinn's legs, who like are bad, but like not probably even 50% of what happened. He's like, ah!
No, the guy with the mustache, his legs are like bad. Like,
bro,
remember
like
the point
got
where
caught on the door.
Oh yeah.
And almost like I thought we were gonna see a leg get ripped off. I'm not gonna lie.
Oh god, dude.
Like some of the best effects and realism I've ever seen in a film, bro.
It was nasty.
Disgusting. Like you were literally uncomfortable watching it.
Which was great. That's the thing, like they didn't need to do any crazy cinematic stuff because if you felt like you were there with these guys, you need to escape, and like it felt like you were there during a real situation, which is what they were trying to show. And yeah, super immersive. The sound was incredible.
What I think benefits this movie as well is like you have something like Hacksaw Ridge, one of my favorite war movies of all time, but this movie benefits from that one location spot, honestly, because I feel like it puts a lot of tension on the movie. Yes, there's not like crazy events that are happening, but like we start the movie, we see shadows running by, we see bullets coming through. We don't know who's out there. We don't know what they have. We don't know what we're in trouble with. You feel trapped. And they do a really good job of like keeping the tension going and adding those elements when it's needed, taking it away when it's not. And like, I don't know, like it was like a more grounded war movie than I've ever seen, if that makes sense.
And you know I love that, baby.
Yeah.
You know, that's my thing. No, one of the best moments too is when they call in for air support and the jet comes like near the ground and goes,
oh my god, thank you for bringing that up, because they did
cool.
it 3 times, and basically it's just like a disruptor. Anyone that's out there, they would get hit by that, they'd get knocked on their ass.
Oh yeah.
So it's just
unconscious
kind of like,
probably.
Yeah, it's just kind of like to give them a break from tension. The actual army people, not us, you know what I mean?
Right.
But it's so cool because they definitely had probably 1 to 2 guys sitting there on a rig with a camera, and that bitch flew low. That plane, they had someone go right through the buildings because like none of that was CGI. Like you could feel like and it felt just like Avatar, bro. You know what I mean?
Dude, it was amazing, man. And like it's in the theater too. You felt the seats rumble.
Dude, rumble. Literally rumble.
So cool. Because first time it happened out of nowhere. First time it shocked us. We're sitting there. It's like, let's get a fly through or something. And we're just sitting there. It's quiet because we're outside. You just see. We're just like, holy shit.
Yeah, bro. I'm telling you, I jumped and I was like, oh my god.
Yeah. No, it was pretty cool. So we So yeah, that happens, and then eventually, finally, you know, after all the screaming forever, they bring in the 2 tanks. They get in there, and then
the two teams come in, kind of secure.
Yeah.
They take over.
Right.
It's like, bro, it's like you have like fucking Soap, and then you have like Captain Price. Like we were dealing with Soap the whole time, or like Castle, if you guys know who that is, or no, was it Sand? I can't remember.
For what?
It was not Castle. It was definitely Sandman. Yeah, Sandman from Modern Warfare.
Okay.
And like, who's like a good leader, but like, bro, this one guy comes in and he literally is like, "You alright?" And that's Poulter's character, and he's like, "Dude, I'm fucked up." It's like, "I'm ringing like a bitch," and he's like, "Got it. All right, everybody." And then he's like, "You do this. You do this. We're doing this. You're doing."
That
bro,
was Melton's character. I think. Yes.
Came in. Oh yeah, fantastic job.
He did a really good job.
Such a small part because it's towards the end, but like. Such a strong and dignifying character, and he did a very good job of presenting that authority figure and like being present and like pushing the men to do better, you know what I mean, and do more and like stay precise.
He's a leader when they needed leading the most and to get the hell out of there, dude. He's the guy that really saved that mission, so shout out to him.
Yeah.
He was one of the guys at the end when they showed all the pictures of the real people, his face was blurred.
Yeah.
So I'll never know what the man looks like.
I don't know what that is for, like if they just didn't get permission, or I didn't understand if that was maybe someone who had died in combat.
Or to protect their,
likeliness, I don't know what it is. You know, they know who they are, so that's all that really matters.
Yeah.
But yeah, the last thing I want to touch on, I think the soundtrack was also really cool in this movie as well.
Oh, before you get to that though, one of the best moments was like they're all in like pain. That group comes in, Melton's like leading, and he goes up to the one dude, and what you can talk about it.
Dude, there's the one douchebag that comes in, he's like, Dude,
like,
Ray is
"Whoa,
sitting
what's
there
up?"
with like Joseph Quinn's character like screaming, and he's like, "Hey, what's up, guys? Come on, let me look at that leg." And he fucking grabs his leg, and like Joseph's like, "Ah!" And Ray's like, "Dude, get the fuck off of me." He's like, "Come on, man, don't be a dick." And he does it again.
Crazy.
And then he's like, "What the fuck are you doing?" I'm like, "Bro, honestly, I wouldn't have been surprised if Ray pulled a pistol on him and like been like, get the fuck back, bro." Stepped on his leg at one point. He kept doing that, and then he kept trying to be cool with him. And he was like, "Dude, what's his problem?" It's like, bro, you don't even know what the fuck just. But I think it's a cool element because like, you go from one group who like, yeah, they were just out there in the gunfight. It did get pretty intense, but nobody got hurt. Everyone survived. So he probably feels high in life. He's probably feeling cool as shit. He's like, yeah, we just, Then you have the people in here who just got exploded by a fucking grenade, and they got shot by an RPG, and they have two men bleeding out on the floor like it's Kool-Aid, and it's like, what the hell, dude?
Two
and like,
very different worlds.
Yeah, and it's like, even though they're both going through combat, one's going on a successful mission. If anything, they probably feel so good right now that they're coming to save a team. You know what I mean? They're like, we're efficient, we're doing good. There's nothing wrong. That they come in, you can tell he feels antsy about like wanting to help and like wanting to be cool mooded, but it's like, chill the fuck out. You know what I mean? Like, chill the fuck out right now.
That was a great moment. That was so funny. But anyways, back to the soundtrack.
Yeah. I think the soundtrack's great. I think the sound is great. Like, you feel everything between the jet. Even like, and this is for all my Call of Duty lovers, like when they would go up in like the thermal scope above, where you were just seeing like people from below it. It was like a plane like just going across. Like, there's so many Call of Duty missions I've played that are like that, and it's like, it's realistic and it's nice. It felt like the ISS movie we watched, where they would cut back from those cameras and stuff, and then go from out. Like, in a way, we were trapped, but those were our little glimpses out of the building to kind of see what the warfare looked like, to see what the area looked like, and they did such a good job with that as well. And super awesome group of people as well. That's kind of my last thing. I think I touched on everything else. The actors were all amazing. You had a few like the name guys, a few people who are like no names, like not in a bad way, just like, you know, they just haven't, like, this was kind of probably their biggest project, and it's just cool because they all felt like brothers. It felt so realistic. They all knew their shit. The connection they all had. Even the smallest of characters felt really important. You know what I mean? I think the movie's just very well done. Very well done movie.
There was no nonsense in it. I mean, no. I don't feel like it should have gone any longer. The very beginning,
but like, and that's what it felt like the perfect time when they were dancing, the girls and like the yoga, or not the yoga thing, the Pilates thing. Like, that was the only funny moment, and I think that was the perfect way to like start cheerful and then instantly be like, this is the reality.
Right.
You know what I mean?
To show what war is. You know what I mean? I totally agree. I think it was really well done. So, yeah, I mean, like I said, I don't think it should have been any longer. I don't think it should have been any shorter. I didn't feel the runtime. I thought it was a really well done film. And it is very slow paced, but it's just that tense, that intensity that you feel.
It's slow, and it doesn't have, like, the most action is the RPG explosion.
Right.
Is the plane coming through. You know what I mean? The gunfights are pretty cool. Like, they're low tense. Or a little, like, explosive and chaotic, but, like, it's the tension that really gets you through the movie, and they do it in such a way from start to end.
Which is always ballsy.
Yeah.
And they do, and it's successful, so they killed it.
Yeah.
So, fun stuff. Let's rate it. Let's rate it, baby. I'll start with this one. I'm going to give this movie, I'm going to give it a 9 out of 10. I really, really enjoyed it. I think that there's so many beautiful moments, man, and one of my favorite war movies for sure. I think it does, like, I think that the one location definitely adds a lot of that, you know, isolatedness to it and that claustrophobic feel. But at the same time, it definitely does hurt a little bit. You know what I mean? Like, when I sit here and watch a movie, like, I do want to see a little bit more of, like, you know, cinema, I guess, you know what I mean? And it did lack that a little bit, but I think it also added to it. But as a movie overall, though, I think that's the one thing that kind of, as a one negative, I guess you can say, and why it keeps it from a 10.
It's like a double-edged sword, because, like, that's what they were going for. Exactly. And it's like, you know, how we can come in and appreciate that, that's why we rank it so highly, you know what I mean?
Yeah. For
people that wouldn't be open-minded to having that, they'd be like, why the fuck did they stay in the same building the whole time?
Right.
You know what I mean? We understand it, you know, the viewers understand, but I agree with you. Like, I think I see why it could be taken in a bad way, but, like, as us, we can appreciate that.
100%.
But I'm going to give it a 9.1. I was, like, literally in the same ballpark as you. Like, you know, funny enough, we just did the Sinners review, but it's, like, as much as I think Sinners is, like, you know, you can tell maybe they had maybe a higher budget, maybe
90
better
million.
equipment, yeah, stuff like that. Just the vibe and the storytelling in Warfare is done so well. It's so good. So yeah, love Warfare. 9.1, probably right next to Hacksaw. I saw Saving Private Ryan when I was young, so I haven't seen it in a while. I'm not gonna compare it to like other war movies I've seen, but like Hacksaw Ridge has always been like my favorite.
Let's go.
Actually, All Quiet on the Western Front took that spot, but compared to All Quiet on the Western Front, it's up there. You know what I mean?
They're also two very different films. It's hard to compare.
You have your one that you're talking about where you go out there and you see everything, and this one's contained. So
it's hard to,
But yeah, it's like it's up there amongst those movies. You know what I mean? For me as my favorite. So I love the movie. You guys, I hopefully think would love it as well.
Yeah. 9.0, 9.1, baby. Definitely go check it out. If you have seen it, go ahead and rank it down below, or rate it, I mean. And then like, comment, subscribe for new reviews every week.
If you don't comment, I'm going to cry.
Me too.
I'm going to cry.
Me as well.